At the University of Dayton in Ohio, students used a unique idea to teach a pretty interesting lesson on My Freedom Day. A huge board game showed what life is like for a victim of human trafficking. And joining us now are two people who actually hosted that event. Tony Talbot, Director of Abolition Ohio, and Bradley Petrella, a student at the University of Dayton, Ohio. So Tony, let me begin with you. So this is all about active learning. It's a pretty cool idea. You had a board game to show what life is like for a victim of human trafficking. Just explain to us, why did you think this was the most effective way to send a message to the kids about the horrors of human trafficking?
Oh, okay, Zane. I guess really what it is we're trying to get kids involved, and we're trying to really let them see in their own experiences what this thing's like. And it gets them up out of their seats. It gets them up out of just listening to a lecture, and so they can really participate in it. And active learning is the real key.
Yeah, so how did it work? How did the board game work?
Great. Well, you have folks come in, they want to play. We have large squares set up on the floor like it is a big board game. The people themselves become the pieces on the board game. There's these large dice, and the idea is to try to see what it's like to actually live on the streets for a victim of human trafficking, a victim of sex trafficking. So they roll the dice, they move forward, and they can land on a square that either has good things or bad things that can happen to them. They start out with a certain number of resource cards, 4 resource cards, and then if they land on a bad square, it could be something, a student will step up and say, stop, you were just arrested for prostitution, you have to spend the night in jail, you lose a resource card. Or stop, you're diagnosed with an untreated STI or STD, lose a resource card. Or they could land on something good, it all depends on the roll of the dice. Good things are, it's a cold night and a good Samaritan sees you shivering, so they offer you a coat. Or someone refers you to services and you get, a warm bed and hot meal for the night.
Right, so it's all about the fact that, listen, life is a game of chance. Anybody could be vulnerable to human trafficking, particularly young people. So Bradley, let me bring you in, because I'm just curious how your involvement in trying to end modern-day slavery changed your perspective, because you and I were talking, and it is true that young people are uniquely positioned to actually make a difference. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, thank you. I just believe that the younger you're able to learn about it, the more time you have to work on this issue. I think a lot of older generation might be more skeptical with modern day forms of slavery that are often, seen as a hidden crime embedded in our systems, the supply chains around the world, or commercial sex. So there might be that cynicism, but when I learn about it at a young age, I still have a sense of hope and a vision, and the idea that if we work together, this younger generation, we have a whole life ahead of us to really make an impact on this problem, hopefully end slavery.
So speaking of having your whole life ahead of you, beyond just today and beyond just yesterday, how else, going forward in your future, how else do you hope to make a difference on this issue?
That's a great question. I've been very passionate about human trafficking as the president of New Abolitionist Movement Student Organization at the University of Dayton. But I see human trafficking connected to a lot of other global issues as well, poverty, inequality. And so I'm concerned about all of these. And so whether or not after college I do something directly in my career, I'll be attuned to human trafficking. I'll be able to be aware of the signs and know that a lot of these issues come into play together. And knowing that whatever I do, I could help prevent and stop human trafficking. In the last year, I've seen examples in the United States where a flight attendant and an Uber driver helped rescue a victim of trafficking. So something unexpected, but no matter what, there'll be an avenue to help.
Yeah, it's hugely important to raise awareness, because, of course, the more you know, the more you can do. All right, Bradley and Tony, thank you so much for taking part in My Freedom Day. Loved having your voices on the show. Appreciate that. Thank you both so much.